What's up, YouTube? You checking out the Frequent Flyer, and this is my quick review of the XK Whirlwind X251 quadcopter. And this is it here. It's a brushless quadcopter, meaning it has brushless motors. And I must say that I'm pretty impressed by this thing. This thing is pretty awesome. Flies really nice. It has dual rates, and I think that this is a much better deal you're getting here for the price than you would be getting if you buy the X1. And mainly it's because of this transmitter here. This is a much better transmitter that it comes with. And we'll get to that a little later, the transmitter, but this one is a really nice flying quadcopter. The motors are a little smaller than the X1's motors. These are 1307 motors, which I think is a variant of the 1306 motors. Probably the same, except for the shaft is a little different. These are probably specially made for XK to make this product here. And these motors have a high kV. They're 3000 kV, so they're designed to spin smaller props faster than the larger motors are spinning the larger props. And this thing flies really nice with these props. These are 5-inch props, I believe, and they aren't very stiff. They feel a little flimsy, but they supply sufficient enough thrust for this thing to fly really nice. It's quiet, pretty awesome flyer. Now, I just have two things that I think can be improved with this quadcopter. I think that it can have a faster yaw rate, faster yaw just for funnels. It might be preference, but I like to do funnels, and I think most other flyers like to do funnels, nice funnels. This can do funnels, but they're pretty wide because the yaw rate is a little slow. And also the pitch angle on the high rate isn't as deep as I would want it to be. And it goes fast enough though. The pitch on high isn't bad at all, but I just think it should be a little more deep. And I must say that this thing is very durable. I crashed it twice on concrete, and this thing doesn't have a scratch on it. Only here, as you can see on one of the lock nuts, there's a scrape on the top there. Maybe the props are a little tiny bit scraped up, but even those didn't break. These props are pretty awesome, I think, for it to withstand two hard crashes on concrete and come out unscathed. I think that says a lot about its durability. And I think these are carbon fiber tubes on the arms and stuff, on the legs, landing gear. Because they're still intact after that hard crash. They can't be plastic, I don't think. And they're probably plastic coated or something. But I do think that they are carbon fiber arms. And I haven't removed this canopy here. You can remove it by removing these screws here on the bottom. There's a bunch of little screws there. And according to the manual, there's a binding button there underneath there where you can bind it to this. It does use the Futaba protocol, so expect good long distance range with this. I haven't tested it though. I usually don't fly too far from myself because of the area that I usually fly in, but I have flown this thing pretty high and no dropouts whatsoever, no problems with connection or anything. Now I can say that the accelerometer on here and the gyros are pretty decent, but it's really not that good with doing the trick flips. In other words, the flips, the manual flips where you cut throttle and do the flip that way, trick the accelerometer into doing a flip when it's in stabilized mode. That doesn't work too well with this. It doesn't like that. It wobbles a lot when you do that, and sometimes it loses control. That's actually how I crashed it once. Now, also another thing is this quadcopter actually has an acro mode, which means there's a mode on here where you can turn off the auto leveling and do all your flips and loops and stuff like that, and do some nice fast flying with it. If you know how to fly that mode, it takes some skill to be able to fly that mode. It's not easy, but in other quadcopters that implement that, and you can switch back to 6-axis stabilization to save yourself when you're in trouble. I don't recommend that with this. This is how my first crash happened with this. I was being lazy. I was flying it in acro mode and I was doing the loop, and I didn't feel like fighting with it to get it to level back out. So I just figured I'd just hit the 6-axis stabilization switch, just switch it back to stabilized mode, and it didn't work well. It didn't work out well. I did that when it was about at this angle, about to recover, and it caused it to just go back into an upside down mode and just, well, position. It caused it to go upside down again and just fly straight into the ground in stabilized mode. So I wouldn't recommend trying to switch it back to stabilized mode to try to save yourself when you're doing manual flips in acro mode. It might work a few times, because it did work a few times I tried it, but just that one time having that crash is enough to let me know that I shouldn't be trying to do it that way. So yeah, pretty awesome little flyer though. It does have a connection under here, a socket where you can plug a camera in, and it's the 4-prong plug there. And I hear it works with the Tarantula's camera there, but I don't have the camera for the Tarantula. But I can say that it does fit that standalone Cyma FPV system. It fits there. It has the right grooves there. It fits on fine. The Cyma version has a different plug there, so it's easy to swap out the plug, but I would suggest getting the Tarantula version if you want to try FPVing with this, with that standalone system. And this thing has plenty of power. It should be able to lift it with no problem. And let's get to the transmitter now. The transmitter is pretty nice too. It's a hobby style, hobby grade transmitter actually. It has 4 switches on it. They're all 2-position switches for acro mode and throttle hold. This is the throttle hold here, and this is your dual rates here. And this gear here actually switches from stabilized mode to acro mode. I think this switch didn't do anything for me when I was switching it. I was thinking that it was that flap there was going to switch it from 3D mode or something, but it doesn't do anything for me. When I tried it, this one here is the one that switches from acro to 3D mode. I was hearing that this switches it to a semi acro mode where you can do your flips and rolls, but it's still stabilized. But I haven't actually witnessed that. I didn't find any difference between the two. It still didn't stabilize for me no matter which way I had this switch. Now you can program the rates a little. They give you a little room to give it more pitch, and no faster yaw though. Just pitch and roll angles you can alter, and you can do your throttle curve and your pitch curves on here, expo. So pretty nice transmitter here. This transmitter is awesome, and I hear this button here activates the recording for the camera functions if you have a camera plugged in there. So pretty awesome. This thing only takes 6 batteries there. You see I have rechargeables in there. It looks like there's a trainer port there in the back, but I'm not sure what that's for. I'm just guessing. And yeah, for the most part, this is a pretty awesome flying quadcopter. Now, the instructions manual was in complete Chinese or some other language, not English for sure, but you can download the English manual, and someone sent that to me. It comes with an extra set of spare props. Oh, I forgot to tell, I don't know if I told you guys already, but the motors here, these 1307 motors are specially made for these. And once you take the lock nut off it, the stem on it is very short. So I think an awesome mod would be to swap out those motors for 1306 motors, which have longer shafts on it. So you can put a different variety of props on it. These shafts on these motors here are only made to support these props. And they are grooved on the side a little. They're flat on the sides. So you can't put any other props on there. and they're short, too short to fit other props on here. So it also comes with a balance charger there, and for the most part you can only use the balance chargers that work with just the balancing port. You can't use a hobby grade charger with it because you need the other connection to it, and the battery from here only has the balancing port on it, so you can't use a hobby grade charger with it. You can use Blade 200 QX batteries with it. As long as you have the battery balancing port, then it'll work with it, because the balancing port is what powers this thing. So yeah, that's it. The XK Whirlwind X251 brushless quadcopter. Pretty awesome and an awesome deal. Thanks for watching.